Hey yo guys, welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our first impressions of the new album from Impending Doom titled The Sin and Doom Volume 2. Alright, so Impending Doom, American deathcore. This is a band that I own one of their albums. I honestly can't even remember which one. I remember buying it on a day where I bought about 15 albums, and I did listen to it. I remember enjoying it, but it actually fell kind of to the bottom of the pile, and I didn't really give it much time after that. So I'm not too familiar with this band. I know you probably never even listened to it before.
No, I have not.
So, you know, we tried to see what was coming out this week to review. It was either this or Victoria by Marduk. We were like, which one should we do? We decided to hold a poll on Twitter, and Impending Doom won with staggering results. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna go listen to it for the first time in its entirety, and we'll be back to tell you guys what we think of the album. So stay put. Hey guys, we're back. We just listened to the full album in its entirety, and I'm just gonna say that this was basically 35 or so minutes of low chugs and kick triplets. That's basically what I felt like. But you know, I'm gonna hand the floor to you. I'll let you tell me what you thought on a first impression.
All right, well, on a first impression, I thought it was a little bit more than that.
It wasn't more than that, but I'm talking about like on a very base level.
Yeah, if you break it down to most basic level, you could probably say that, but I felt this album did actually have some content that was entertaining, contrary to how you're making it sound. The biggest thing I noticed, which happened in the first track, The Wretched and Godless, was that I felt this band has a few of the hallmarks that Meshuggah has. Now, I'm not saying this band sounds like Meshuggah. I'm not saying that, you know, all their music is just like, oh, this is just Meshuggah, but I'm saying that they have things within the songs that remind me of Meshuggah. All the polyrhythms going on, you know, the syncopated stuff with a double kick and the guitars, the eerie guitar in the background that happens in almost every single song that reminds me of something Meshuggah would do. And in a few of the songs, the vocalist kind of reminded me of Jens Kidman, but it didn't sound exactly, like, it didn't really sound like him. There's just a few songs, including that first song, that I'm like, oh, I can kind of hear the voice, kind of. Like I said, I'm not really directly comparing this band to Meshuggah, I'm just saying they have a little bit of similarities. But yeah, those eerie guitars and the rhythms were like, yeah, this is kind of like what Meshuggah would do. And even the guitar tone, that was a big one for me, that the guitar tone sounded like how Meshuggah would tune their guitars. And the semitone motion back and forth, going up and down with the guitars, that was also something I'd hear in Meshuggah as well. Kind of reminds, like if I were to compare it to an era of Meshuggah, I'd say around Destroy, Erase, Improve, Nothing kind of era. So before Catch 33, I would probably try to say like the sound. But on its own, well, I think it's really interesting that these guys were technical, doing some, you know, additive stuff, like in Burn, you know, it's in 4/4, but if you count, it kind of sounds like 9 + 7, which it obviously isn't, it's in 4/4. But it's cool that they do that, but it's also still straight up deathcore. They have the breakdowns, it's chugging along, and it feels good. Like, the musical performance is good enough that'll make you bang your head to it. And that, I think they do a really good job on this album, because every song will have that for you.
Yeah. And
that being said, kind of the middle of the pack for this album, you know, with Serpent's Tongue, Devil's Den, Unbroken felt not bad, but like songs like those, and even Everything's Fake, I felt like kind of the same thing happening.
yeah.
That being said, the last track, Run For Your Life, She Calls, I thought that song was great, and I felt it was a really good original thing for this album, because the chorus is very atmospheric, very open, and it's very different. It's not just hammering you in the face. The verses kind of do that, but this chorus is constantly what the song is going back to, and that's the main focus of the song, and I think that's really fascinating. And then, you know, the fact that it ends with that chorus but like a really long fade out really kind of puts you in a weird space, and it's not like, okay, I just had my face pounded into the dirt. It's more like, wow, like, where am I? Kind of puts you out in space. You don't know where you are.
One thing I'll add to that about that track, that last track, is that there's a few tracks on this album that have some synth incorporated in the background, and it just fills that void. It creates an ambience, and it's particularly noticeable in that last track I found. where, like you said, it kind of puts you in a space, and I think that's what really does it, that synth sound that's just kind of ambient in the background, but just creating that atmosphere, that mood, and making that song sound a little different than the rest of them, which I found were all very generic sounding as far as just deathcore goes. There was nothing really to me that stood up particularly extra in any songs. Most of my positive notes have to do with the percussion. I felt like the drumming was very good, but again, nothing mind-blowing that I've never heard before. It's still very generic when you look at the grand scheme of death metal as a genre. But you still got some cool stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of cool triplets. There's a lot of cool double bass and rolls and stuff like that throughout. So I was gravitating more towards the percussion and grooving more towards the percussion as far as the whole album goes. But there were some other things, some trebly things that I was grooving towards as well. Certain songs like, which one was it? Devil's Den. You got some pitch harmonics there. I love my pitch harmonics. You got some really cool guitar tones in Paved with Bones. Where else do I got notes about guitar stuff? I don't know, my notes are kind of messy right now, but overall, the overall vibe I get from this album is that I liked it, I enjoyed it, I'm grooving to it, I think it's heavy, I think it's mean, and that's all the stuff that I like from a deathcore album. But as far as going, damn, that was fucking cool, or that's a sick song, or just being overly impressive on a first impression by anything specifically, nothing jumped out at me. My highest rated song was War Music, which is the longest song on the album, song number 3. On this specific song, I put a note that said they have a good use of spatial sounds. And then as I was listening to the album more and more, I started noticing that other songs also had good use of spatial sounds. And what I mean by that is that if you're listening to this album on like a surround sound system or really high quality monitors or good surround headphones or something like that, you're gonna hear your whole circumference or whatever it is, it fills up with sound, right? And they use, certain elements, or like a lot of bands do this, where like you'll hear a guitar there, then a guitar there, then a guitar there, and the sound kind of bounces back and forth, and it just fills all around you. And I really like the way they did it in this. It was well executed, I should say. But overall, my first impression was kind of in the middle, but it's in the middle not in the sense that some was good, some was bad. It was all good, but it was just all too generic for me. Nothing was really like wowing me or exciting me about it, but that's this kind of thing that we'll go and listen to this album for the entire week, and throughout all those listens, I might go, holy crap, I didn't notice this on my first impression, or holy crap, what is that, or notice, something there, something here, something there, maybe check the lyrics out, maybe that'll draw me in a little more, make me appreciate the songs a little more. But right now, I'm kind of middle of the pack as far as my first impression goes. Yeah,
keep in mind that we've only listened to this album one time.
Yeah.
Like, we've only heard it once, so there are probably things that we don't even remember that we will pick up on later on.
Right.
So, don't slam us for being like, how did you not recognize, X in whatever song, because we might not even remember it. We might notice that on our future listens.
Yeah.
So, just as a reminder that we've only heard it one time, so these are our first impressions after one listen.
Yeah, plus you guys a lot of the times will leave comments down below and like reference certain things to certain songs, and then we'll go back and we'll listen to those things. I'll be like, okay, this person said check out the song Burn for this element, and I'll be like, oh yeah, like that's actually pretty cool. I'm glad that person pointed it out. So if you guys listen to the album and you find anything that jumps out at you, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments, because we will go back and we will take a look at it and see what it's all about.
Absolutely, and as a first impression for me, this album had actually really high points. There were some things I really, really liked and was really getting into. That being said, I kind of share the idea with you is that it might be a little bit generic, a little bit, there are sections of this album that don't really wow me, but there were parts that did. So hopefully throughout the week, as we both listen constantly backwards and forwards, I can start to notice more things that really jump out at me. But that's all we got for today, guys. Remember to like the video if you liked it, like it if you disliked it, just like it. Comment, tell us what you think of the album, tell us what you think of the songs, tell us what you think of the band, tell us everything you want to tell us. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, because we got constant metal content coming to you all the time. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Miles.
And we'll see you guys later.
Peace out.